Okay everybody, welcome back, and now it's time that we work on more refinement with the blending and then getting the nose and the eyes and the mouth all kind of shaped up here. So let's just go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna blow up the document here. If I haven't mentioned before, it's Command plus and minus on the keyboard to make it bigger. Okay, so last time we kind of put in these block shapes for the face, and it's looking a little bit weird right now, but we'll get these details a little more refined. And the first thing I'm going to do is we can go ahead and use the color that we're using for our hair if you still have it, or you can just pick it up right here with the little eyedropper tool. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more distinct shapes here for the eyes. Let's go ahead and sketch those in a bit. And this one here, I'm just kind of going with the lines I already put in, but these aren't super accurate, so we'll work on them a bit. Twerk them? Probably not twerk them. Tweak them. I mean, if you want to try to twerk them, that's your prerogative. But it's probably about right. Let's take a look here. Yeah, and I think it's a good stage. Let's go ahead and change the opacity of our sketch layer so that we can kind of see what we're doing a little bit better. So if you go ahead and select, I was on the base colors, I'm going to select sketch, and I'm going to knock the opacity down probably about, oh, that looks good, 35-ish, 34%. And then make sure you go back to base colors, and you can even lock your sketch, this little icon here, if you lock it. That way you can't accidentally mark on it by accident thinking you're on the other layer. So you could not use the brush tool because the layer is locked. So we'll go back to our base colors, and we'll work on the eyes, and let's see, the nose, it's looking okay. We'll want to kind of, you know, let's see, I don't like that, I'm going to Command Z that. Put a little nostril on this side, and nostril here. Kind of go with what our sketch has there. Let's take a look, is that right? That's okay. This nostril will actually go up a bit there. That's a little better. And then I know this looks dark here. I'll probably actually just sort of make it a little bit lighter because that's where the light would catch it. I'm gonna work. I'm using X key. Oops, X key to switch between my colors, and I'm just kind of picking up colors around here for now. Just kind of work with this. Let's add a little bit of shading, and put a little more shading here, down here, make it a bit bulbous. And this, I know this looks like a mess, I was just trying to make it point there. Okay, that's not too bad. And then for the last thing, let's work on shaping in the mouth. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this darker color again. And let's see, there's kind of a groove here, usually the like base of the nose here, and then like an indent here where there's a bit of a shadow, and then oops, I got my finger on the wrong key, and a little bit like a highlight deal there, something like that. And then let's go back to the darker color and put, let's see, the lips will go kind of, I'm going to actually take this, I have it here, but this is a bit wrong. Why don't I go ahead and show you what I do if I wanted to move this area over here. If you do it on this layer, you're going to get like a weird, you know, sharp angle, and the thing is going to be there. So what I actually usually do at this point is I duplicate layer. What I'm doing is I'm right clicking, or holding down Control and clicking, and then I'm going to hit duplicate layer, and I'm just going to hit OK. Doesn't matter what it's called. And then I'm going to go to create clipping mask, and what that basically means, you can see it kind of, whoops, if I take that clipping mask off, it's not going to show up anywhere except where the last layer was. So if I took a brush tool, I'm trying to mark out here, won't do anything. But if I mark here, It'll only mark where there's already digital information. And the reason why that's good is that we're going to select this area. And normally, I mean, you could just like brush over this and start the lips over, but I just want to go through this. And then I'm going to feather. I'm right clicking and I'm feathering, oh, maybe about 10 pixels. And then when I move it, you can see it's like, you know, it's a little more obvious, but it's less obvious. And this is how you do like a major adjustments with your thing without like really messing it up. And so then we'll move it down here. I actually think I am just going to start over because, or maybe we can just do this here, make it a little bit better. Feather and move. Okay, and then we'll put the sketch back on. You can see I'm going to move it up a little bit. I just hit Command Z to bring me back here. And that's kind of where her lips will go. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and brush over this so it's not too awkward. And we can, you know, we don't have to follow that line too much. Let's pick up this color. Her lips, I'm going to go ahead and sketch them in just a bit. Her lip will come down like here in the corner, and then usually it's kind of comes down, dips in, up again, then it'll meet the corner there. And then, let's see, I think a little bit of a shadow there, and then this is a little more defined. That's kind of how, that looks about right. And then, so we've got the nose a little more shaped in, and the lips and the eye shapes. And then let's go ahead and work on the eyes. The corner of the eyes are actually a little bit more sharper than what I've drawn, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of work them like that. And then they come over, maybe not quite like that. And that looks pretty good for that one. Let's see. This one comes down, like I said, a little bit sharper angle. And this will curve down, and this will come, it actually comes out a bit like that. Okay, and then, you know, just to see, maybe her eyelash, or I mean her eyelid will kind of go like that, and then her eyeball, I think we had her looking out. So something like that. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, and with the eye, there's a little bit of a crease there. We can just kind of sketch that in. We're still kind of doing in the sketching phase, even though we're, you know, kind of painting the area. Sketch that in there. And her eyebrow, I think we had her like, maybe like that. And she doesn't really have much expression. I'm gonna erase this. Now, when you have this layer on top of this other one in a clipping mask, if you erase it here, it's just gonna erase this stuff. So if you want to go and erase the layer, the bottom one, you have to either select that layer and then you can erase stuff, or you can just go ahead and merge the layers by Command E, or merge down also works. And then you can kind of make, I'm gonna shape her eyelid a little bit better like that. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and back it up a bit, see how she looks. It's not too bad. Her cheek's gonna need to come out a bit, in my opinion. I'm gonna drag it out there, and just go ahead and kind of lighten that up so I can see what I'm doing. That doesn't look too bad. I'm still thinking this chin should come out just a bit. I think I just drew it way too far in. That's okay. And okay, so we'll put our sketch layer back on. We're going to take a look here. We're going to start adding some more darker shadows. And I've kind of used this color a lot. That's okay, because we're still kind of in the blocking phase. And I'm going to work her chin. Usually this shadow here is a bit triangular, just sort of you know, the chin's here, the light hits, and then it's sort of a triangular shape that kind of goes into there. So let's go ahead and add that in a little. I know she looks a little silly with this real high shot or high highlight. So we'll do that, and let's see her. Oops, I'm gonna boost up my brush a bit and work on this area. It's a little bit darker, and I'm just gonna go ahead and darken it up. It goes behind the nose, and I think maybe we'll just do it like that. And let's see, kind of work it in. This is not too bad. Let's work shadow maybe here, kind of darken it. It looks okay. A little bit in where the eye goes. Actually, let's do a little bit on the eye as well, likely like that. Let's see, these areas I'm just sort of guessing from how I've done it in the past a bit. Like I mentioned several times, if you want like a good, a real good, you know, a better painting, what you'd want to do is pick a reference. So that's kind of a good little blocked out area. It looks a little bit more refined even at this stage, even though, you know, it's hardly all the way refined. I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow under her chin. And because our opacity is at 48%, it's still sort of, you know, working in okay, blending in okay without being too awkward. So that doesn't look too bad. She looks really, really, I don't know how to say it, not pale, but like, you know, grayish. Her skin doesn't look very lively. So I think the next step, I'll add a little bit more here and do like the triangle here. And okay, I think the next step is we're gonna boost up our saturation. So let's go over with some more shadows, and I'm going to boost the saturation up a bit, so when I lay them down she'll look a little bit more lively. Put just some more things here, and this, it's fine that these things aren't very universal. That's kind of what you want when you're starting. I'm gonna redefine that shadow there. Maybe give her, let's see, I'm gonna take the sketch layer off now. I don't think we need it anymore. Get a shadow under her lip here. Maybe that'll carry down here and work here. And I'm leaving a little bit of light here on purpose. This just tends to be, you know, the light tends to kind of wrap around and catch and bounce off objects. If she's in like a really dark cave, she would be totally contrasted, but I doubt a lot of people want to do that. I'm trying to decide how much of her nose to shade. I think that looks pretty good. We'll do that, and we'll add a highlight there. I'm gonna lower my brush. Let's see. Redefine this little nostril area here. Brush here. This will go down. And this nostril kind of sticks out this way, and then you get, that's a little bit too big of a nose, I think. We'll kind of erase that. And that's okay. She has a bit of a oddly shaped nose, but that's kind of how people are in life. Sometimes they just have oddly shaped noses. And if I really was unhappy with this nose, I could do that trick again, where I duplicate the layer. I highlight the area that I want to change. Let's do that. Feather it about 10, any range from like, you know, 5 to, you know, 20, depending on how big your document is. And I'm actually going to select the free transform and warp, and I'm going to sort of bring this part in a bit while I bring this part up a bit, and bring maybe this a little bit down and that a little bit up. Okay, you can see what it was and see how I've altered it. And I think now's a good time. I'm hitting Command S as I go along. Now's a good time. I'm going to go ahead and flip the image. Image rotation, flip canvas horizontally. I'm going to take a look at it at this stage. Nothing really big jumps out at me as like a major error if I do that. So I think I'm on the right track. Her eyes are a little bit wonky, but we'll fix those. Okay, so let's go ahead and now, since I saw that eye was wonky, oops, I just realized I never created this as a clipping mask. It's okay if you don't. I just kind of prefer it. So I saw this eye is a little bit odd. I'm going to go ahead and select it, feather it, and tweak it just a bit. Yeah, there we go. How's it look now? Okay, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring it over a touch. Okay, and I know it's kind of hard to know like how you would see that if you're not experienced, but it's just kind of something that comes with practice and using, you know, different paintings. So now I'm going to define the shadows a little bit more under her hair line, and let's go ahead and make it a little bit darker at this point. Darker shadow, and this is going to be hard because her hair is so much like her skin at this stage, but that's okay. Here and a little bit under here. Let's work on this nose. Make the nostrils a little more defined. These will be almost black by the time we're done with them. And we'll just, I think I've messed this area up. Go ahead and pick up this little color here. Kind of go out like there's a bit of a indent in her skin here. Okay, fix that there. It's not looking, it's looking okay. I think maybe it's just a highlight here, another highlight here, and just kind of maybe make one there. Okay, and then I think there would be maybe more of a shadow under here. And I'll keep working on that. I'll meet that goes here. Let's go ahead and brush it, bring the brush a bit bigger, and maybe meet it here. Yeah, that looks okay. And here. Okay. So now we have a little bit rougher shape. Let's go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and start blending this a little bit more. And how you do that, there's multiple ways. I'll kind of cover a couple of them. We've already kind of gone through one by having our opacity layer. This is the main blending that I use. If you turn it down to maybe 20 and then you use your eyedropper and you can select it by hand. Oh, here it is. As you can tell, you can select it by hand on your toolbar. You can also hit the key I, or if you're using your brush and you want to do it quickly like I do, I hold down Option. Just hit the keys by the space bar, you know, one at a time until you see what they do. Like this command moves it. Option brings the dropper, and Control is another little menu thing. So let's go ahead and start blending. So I'm going to pick up this color. I don't like this shape here, so I'm going to blend it here, but I don't want to completely undo it. So I'm just going to sort of pick up colors as I go. And pick them up, drop them, pick them up, drop them, pick them up, drop them, and just kind of keep doing that to the surrounding areas. You can already see it looks messy, but you can see how this is sort of blending it in. Kind of work it there. Let's see, bring this color down a bit, and then bring this over, and blend it. So basically what you're doing, and I'll do it over here to make it a little bit easier. So say we have this very dark color here and this very light color here. and we want them to be, you know, we want a very even blend between them. You're setting your opacity down anywhere, you know, between like 20 and 10%, and you pick the color, and it's putting like half of that, or, you know, 16% of that color there, and you can put it down a couple times, and then you pick up this color and it's putting like, you know, 16% of that color there. So you're just sort of blending it by meeting them in the middle, and as you can see, it's blended it that way, and you just kind of keep working on it. And I know it seems a little bit tedious, you get a little faster at it when you kind of get in the groove, so to say. And then you have these mid colors, and you can bring them out, and that kind of speeds things up. Okay, so that's method number one, and that's the method I would kind of suggest for the major highlighting parts. Another method that you can use is the blur tool, and I'll show you that real quick. I think this is called the blur tool. It's the smudge tool, that's right. Okay, so smudge tool, you have your strength up here, and if you want it to be super strong, you're not really going to get a blend, you can see. So I would knock it way down to maybe 6%. That's pretty good. Let's push our brush down, and I'll see how this works. I'll show you how this works. I mean, you can see it just sort of blends it, and you know, you just go over it. I tend to do this kind of cross hatch method, and it takes, in my opinion, a lot longer, and it kind of loses any kind of interesting texture. So I'm not like super thrilled with this, except for maybe super refined blending areas that you want to do. And if you want to work with it a little bit, tweak the strength, you can do that. It will work a little faster, but it'll also kind of be harder to control. And then the last thing you can do with that tool, sometimes it helps if you have a textured brush. It'll help with the blending because it texturizes. The texture will bring it out. There's a bunch of defaults, you could play around with that on your own. So those are kind of the two main methods. There's a few others, and I might go over them as we carry on, but right now I'm just going to use the first brush one that I showed you. And I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video here a little bit, and you'll just see all I'm doing at this point is blending and blending and blending and blending. So you can just sort of watch it. I'm picking up color and I'm putting it down, and I'm trying to get like an in-between, you know, gradient. So we have this sharp shadow here. And one last thing, you don't want to blend these totally even. You still kind of want a bit of a hard line in these areas. Otherwise, I mean, it just won't look right. So here we go. Okay, we'll stop it there. It's a little bit more blended. It's not super refined yet, but you can kind of see, you know, generally where this is heading. And in the next video, I'm going to work on refinement, like where to go from here. And I'll touch on how to do the eyes and the mouth and the nose in a little bit more detail. I can already tell I'm going to fix that nose a bit, and we'll work on the ear. You want to add a few, go through the ear shadows a bit real quick. You have a nice big one here, and I think this was supposed to be the whole. I'll need a bit of a darker color to do these a bit better. And then you know, the lid will be there, and this will actually be pretty highlighted, but since that mid-tone is still there, let's go ahead and just take one of these and darken where it's not highlighted. A bit like that. We'll refine that later. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video and we can talk about refinement and detailing the features.